I'm super excited to have you on here and talk about this.
Yes, what's the topic you'd like to talk about today?
I was thinking something controversial, a problem many people struggle with, including our government officials.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking we can discuss school shootings.
Where would you like to start?
I'd like to start off with some facts. Did you know each day 12 children die due to gun violence in school?
Wow, I did not know that. That's crazy. I read that in the Sandy Hook Promise website that you're 5 times more likely to die from a school shooting than drowning. I wonder what causes these harsh actions.
Yeah, I agree. Your community plays a big role in this. Many other reasons include video games, access to guns, abusive parents, and conflicts with other students or teachers in school.
According to the Yale U.S. History School Shootings and School Violence website, school shootings are tragic because the students are victims, but also threats, making it hard to find or prevent school shootings.
Did you know that according to Yale U.S. History, school shootings and school violence, America has the highest number of school shootings in the world?
No, I did not know that. That's terrible. With the tragedy of school shootings, it also brings up issues or debates towards the government.
Yes, I did know this, and one of the most common and most brought up debates is the issue of gun control. And the Gale School Shooting website, it talks about how one of the first major school shootings, the Columbine and the Suburbia, 2 white male students, Eric Hauer and Dylan Kelebold, opened fire on their fellow students at Columbine High School in Columbine, Colorado, a suburb of Denver. This was a planned attack, although the perpetrators did not appear motivated by distinctly racial or drug-related issues. In all, 15 people died that day, including the killers, who committed suicide after their rampage. This tragic event had a major impact on how the American people viewed gun control, shifting people's minds against the act of having a gun to make sure this didn't happen again.
I would like to bring out how the 2 shooters didn't make it out and died during this tragic event. Carter, do you believe that the shooters planned to shoot the school and leave it untouched?
I believe that most school shooters know that no school shooter has ever made it out of school alive.
I agree, Carter. This brings up another issue of school shootings, and that is suicide. Most school shooters are suicidal, wanting to end their lives due to a majority of reasons. I think that school shooters shoot the school to kill people who are mean or unfair to them before they eventually die.
According to Gale U.S. History, gun violence, the form of suicide the kids feel are a type of powerless, and they feel weak. Use of guns gives them the power they felt deprived of and makes those offending them powerless. In addition, the school shooters become famous with their faces splashed all across television screens nationwide. The violence outbreak turns the tables and gives them both the power and attention they seek. By giving the powerless kids guns, they feel powerful and lose their humanity, killing kids and teachers to feel powerful and famous.
Another big factor in school shootings is the people the shooters kill. This could be for any reasons. Kids bullying the shooter, teachers being mean to the shooter, or even family members mistreating the shooter.
The mistreatment of the shooter plays a big role in why the school shooter is suicidal. This unfair treatment is why they feel powerless or forgotten. And when a gun is put in their hands, they are emotionally unstable.
School shootings are truly tragic, and the tragedy doesn't only lie when the school shooting happens, but also the after effects. According to the Yale U.S. History School Violence website, schools are no longer viewed as safe havens for the nation's children. This increased presence of police, metal detectors, and interventionist programs have become more daily reminders of schools' violence. Schools are no longer viewed as places of learning and growth, but now schools are viewed as unsafe and a risk to students. This school shooting causes schools to lose students. Some studies quit the school or don't even show up to school physically. The schools need to upgrade their security by hiring more staff and metal detectors.
Owen, do you believe that school shootings are instinctively evil or extrinsically evil? Intrinsic evil is an evil that is evil by its very nature, and instinctive evil is evil that in context seems wrong, but based on circumstances may not be entirely wrong.
I believe that school shootings are intrinsically evil. There is no context that would make killing people seem okay.
I'd agree with you.
While we're on the topic of school shootings, what do you think are the natural or moral conditions of evil related to school shootings?
Only moral conditions that are related to school shootings. The moral condition of evil is evil created by human affairs, and in this case, the moral evil would be murder. What are the external conditions of suffering applied to school shootings?
The external conditions of suffering applied to school shootings are social, emotional, and meaningfulness.
Could you go into that more detail?
Sure, social conditions of suffering is inequality or poor treatment of others. School shooters are usually poorly treated by society, causing them to grow angry and powerless. The emotional conditions of suffering is how someone reacts to different situations emotionally. Some emotions school shooters feel stress, anger, powerlessness, sadness, and loss. The meaningfulness condition of suffering is the feeling that someone gets of not being important and is a cause of suicide.
There are also personal conditions of suffering. The ones that would apply to school shootings are emotional, social, and spiritual. Emotional and social conditions are the same as the external conditions. Spiritual condition is the lack of a spiritual presence. School shooters lack the presence of God, making them not feel loved.
This is great. Did you think the church has an opinion on the idea?
Yes, definitely. Would you like to dive into that topic?
Yes.
The community has protested. Students have walked through neighborhoods and streets. Their goal is to make schools safer.
I wonder what legislation of these states think.
Yeah, very interesting. So actually, the Texas legislature has added background checks to gun purchase, and they have also increased the age restrictions for gun purchase. They hope that this is the final solution.
Did you know that the Latino and Black communities have been most affected by gun violence?
I did not know that. That is awful.
Schools have been putting more emphasis on the First Amendment. Walkouts have been done, and schools have allowed students to get a lawyer if suspended for 10 days or longer.
So another topic is, how would you relate those sufferings to the ones of Jesus?
Great question. Jesus' suffering was not asked for, and neither is the students who are affected. Jesus' suffering was affected generations of people, and so do school shootings.
I would agree. The disciples were also affected by the suffering and death. They were cursed and mocked at. The students who were in groups of friends facing gun violence may seem scared, as the disciples were when they learned of Jesus' death threats. But we should always know that God is with us through all the suffering.
That is positive. We should always know that God is with us through all events.
I love that message. God suffers with all of his creation, and that includes us. He is present by rewarding us eternal life in heaven and his love and his guidance.
But do you think about the communities affected? So many communities throughout the world go through this. I hope they can find a safe coping method.
The church feels these effects especially. They have provided an emotional safe place with priests to talk and find God.
I would agree. I also want to add that the church should provide more spiritual assistance to the youth. Church can become a place of healing and acceptance.
Schools provide a lot of influence on juveniles' lives. How do you think schools should act to make it a safer environment?
Great question. I think that schools should add more security. This includes more security guards around schools, as well as metal detectors that can detect weapons and that may be used to kill other students. More cameras around school will make kids feel safer for sure. It can also catch sketchy activities that may have been overlooked by teachers or other students.
Do you think that we're ready to move on from this topic? This is a truly horrible action.
Yes, definitely. It starts with people like me and you. We can influence others with our words and actions. We can get it in contact with schools and churches that may be under the pressure of school shootings.
We must just have trust in God as well. School shootings are just reality checks of Jesus' suffering and God suffering with us.
I think we should respond to school shootings with punishment, but to learn from our mistakes, making schools feel safer. is just a small step that can help any environment become more enjoyable and comfortable.
Agreed. We should approach school shootings with compassion and empathy. God is always present in our times of suffering. We just have to put some trust in Him. We should act with that hope that will get us better. Churches need to act upon these actions and be more open to people to talk about and expressing their feelings.
This was a great conversation. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, hope to have you on here soon. Hey! Woo!